we're interviewing today with Mr. and Mrs. Thayer Hamilton in Mitchell, and they have got just a tremendous number of photographs, and I think I could get lost in these photographs just looking at them for a while. And out of the piles, I've picked out several that I want to ask them about, and then some other questions I'm going to ask them about the CCC activities in general. Now, Mr. Hamilton said that he was there from 33, you came in the fall, and you stayed almost until the thing was over.
Right.
So you probably saw from the start to the finish, and the way the camps moved, and where everything was set up, and which is real helpful because a lot of folks we're talking to was just there for a year, maybe 2 years.
Oh yeah, some of them only stayed till their time's up, 6 months or a year.
Was 6 months the enlistment time?
Something like that, 6 months to a year. I know some of them left.
But you were allowed to stay for the whole time?
Yeah, but I had to go through political pool to do it.
Oh, okay. You just kept re-enlisting, or?
Yeah.
Was it that good or profitable to stay, or you just didn't have anything else to do?
See, there's no work.
No work then for them to do. They had to.
Stay there.
They were glad to get it then for $1 a day. $30 a
We got our
month.
eats and we got our eats and clothes and
How much did you get paid at the start?
$30 a month.
And was it the same at the end?
No, it was more. See, and then if they like if you made a leader, you got 36. Then if you was over barracks, you got $5 more, see? And
Yeah.
that's the way it was.
So how much did you get at the end?
At the end, I was drawing about $40.
Okay.
See, I was on a truck. I drove a truck a lot. A pickup truck. I've been to every state park in Indiana.
My. Where the other CCC camps are located.
Yeah, where they were located.
Did you two know each other then, or?
Did I what?
Did you two know each other?
No, I went with her. I picked her up down here. My brother-in-law, he was in there, and he got me a date with her. He went with her sister.
Oh, my.
And he got me a date with her.
And you were from Mitchell?
Who, me?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's born and raised
And
here.
you
I
were
come
from
from
here?
South Bend.
Give them South Bend.
Up there close to Pokagon State Park.
So if it wasn't for the CCC, y'all would not have met, probably.
Never met. No.
First, I was out in, I come from South Bend to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I stayed down there 6 months. See, but they didn't count it, I guess. But then
I met him, I guess, in 34 and married
and
in
then I come back
35.
in here.
Oh, so you were married while he was still in the CCC?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you just live in town and he come and visit on the weekends?
No, we had a truck.
We,
See, Lawrence Lawyer and
yeah, we lived in town, and the boys would come out in the morning and pick
George
him up.
Browning,
take him
they
to the
had a
camp,
whole bunch of men
and they'd bring him back at night.
that worked out there. Now, they worked for the CC camp, but they drawed their money someplace else, see?
Okay.
And I forget what they call them.
They actually worked for the Department of Conservation.
Yeah. And we had a whole load of them. And us boys would ride in on that truck of a night and then catch it and go back, see? That's
Pick
all
'em up
about
in the
it.
morning.
So you weren't required to live on the camp then?
Yeah, but we had guys check the bed for us.
Okay.
See, you gotta work all that.
Yeah, but after you was married, was you supposed to stay out there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But we had guys to check the bed for us, see?
Uh-huh.
See what I mean?
So there were ways around the rules.
Yeah, yeah. But you don't have to put that in there.
They'd
But
come
there
home.
was.
He'd
But
come
that's
home
how
and
we
stay
done
at
it.
night, and then they'd come around and pick him up in the morning.
And you did that for several years.
Oh, yeah.
My. Now, was there, I know the WPA operated that way. Was there any WPA camps or work around here?
Well, no, after the park was done, after the CCs were done away with, they was WPA.
They've done
And I went on
work
it.
around here a while.
WPA.
What did they do in the Mitchell area?
No, well, they paid, they started out digging sewer, place to put sewer pipes, see, trenches, and that's what we done here in town, and then they, every so far they had it marked off, they build manholes out of brick, break them up, and then you dig from there to another one, and that's what you done. Then, after that, well, I got transferred on a road gang, and we built roads, see, up in, around Campbellsburg and up in there.
And this is before you started the CCC?
No, it's
or-
after you started the CC camp.
Okay.
Yeah, after CC played out, well, then they had WPA, because it was tough then.
Okay, so after 42, there was still WPA, even though
Oh, yeah.
CCC was over.
Yeah.
Oh, I
See, in 42, no, yeah, 42 or 43, one of them, I went down to Burnt City.
Mhm.
That's Crane now.
Mhm.
We got a job, you had to join the union, and I borrowed the money, I think it was $10 to join the union before you could get on, and we went down to Burnt City
Mhm.
and worked down there at the union job.
Hmm.
Dustin McDonald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, we were talking a while ago about the black camp on the CCC, and this is something that's really puzzled me, but I think we're starting to put the pieces together. Now, in 1933, the blacks didn't have a separate camp, is that right? They were mixed in with
Not with
the
us.
white camp?
Not with us.
Okay. Okay.
When they come there, they build them a new camp, but they know, in other words, they knowed they were coming.
Okay.
See?
And that was in 34.
So they had some buildings
I
for
imagine
them.
it was.
Okay.
I don't remember any niggers being with us, our colored people, I
Because they
mean,
had a camp out there,
but they had one out there.
colors.
Hmm.
And they just moved them right over because they know it wouldn't work.
And that was Company 539,
Yeah,
and they came in about 34.
yeah.
Now, where was their camp located at?
You know where Bill McDonald lives?
Old
Or
McDonald.
Bill,
Carlisle.
Carlisle?
Yeah, property manager's
Yeah.
house. Uh-huh.
he's got a house up here,
Uh-huh.
and he's got a shed over here he works in.
Yeah.
Ain't they a barrack right down this way from his,
Over
Okay.
behind them.
There
over-
used to be
over
one.
west of him, there's one barrack there too,
Uh-huh.
just a CC barracks.
Okay.
Okay, that's where that camp was.
And that was the black camp.
That was the black camp.
Where was the white camp at that time?
Well, you come in on 60,
Mm-hmm.
instead of making that curve around the corner there where you gotta make that curve and go around those little log cabins on
Mhm.
the hill, you come right straight in and go
Okay.
about from here to that house over there and then turn into our camp.
Okay, so that
Off
was,
of Old 60.
That's the old
Well, now-
60 now I'm talking.
that was over around where Oak Ridge Shelter House is
Yeah,
now then.
yeah,
And, so when the black camp left, then the white camp moved over to where they
yeah.
had been?
Mhm.
Why was it they moved? Just better buildings or?
Yeah, better buildings, see.
Mhm.
You just, they didn't, well, you kept them up, kept them from, the water getting in on the clothes and stuff, but they didn't do it. They just moved us over there.
How were they heated in the
Had a
wintertime?
stove.
Just an old wood stove?
Oh, you know, you ever been to Depot and seen them old round orange
Yeah.
stoves?
Yeah.
Well, they had one of them in each barrack, but they had
My.
a cover around it, and you get them hot, and boy, you got some heat, see? Then we had a fan sitting up on the, hooked up onto the rafter or the ceiling, and it blowed down and blowed back heat over it.
Oh my.
Did you burn coal, did you?
Coal and wood, if we
Uh-huh.
get it.
Now, why was the black camp left? Did they just come
Well,
on a temporary assignment? Now, they went to Evansville
yeah, I
from,
went to Evansville.
from what?
Why didn't they stay here?
I think they got some mean.
Well,
I don't know.
Well,
When they come to town, it shouldn't have happened that way, but anyway it did. They had a bunch of people in here that didn't like colored people.
mhm,
See what I mean?
mhm,
And the colored boys always get in a fight.
mhm.
So one night, a bunch of them colored people in the camp had some friends from Indianapolis come down here,
Mhm.
men, young men, and they was gonna take the town with them,
Mm,
see?
mm,
And, it ended up they didn't do it.
mhm.
But after that, why, they got a hold of the man out to Park Cordell, and he wired his man over him, and, some way or other, they made arrangements, and they just moved them out.
Moved them out of there.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you about it.
But
They
there-
did have a fight here, a real fight,
My
Well, I mean-
goodness.
that some of them got
But it
hurt.
wasn't with the white CCC camp, it was just with the town in general?
Town in general,
Uh-huh.
I'd say.
How about within the park? Did they, was there interaction between the two camps?
No, they didn't, work us close together, see,
Uh-huh,
and there was no interaction.
uh-huh. Something I was interested in when I was reading through some of the reports we got from Washington is the roadways. Was almost all of that done by hand?
Oh, yeah,
There's-
all done by
Now,
hand.
there's a photograph here, and I don't know if we can, I'll show you and then see if we can get it on the camera. But it
Okay.
shows a road being constructed.
Okay, that's Doug Pulliam's
All
gang.
right, where did he get them from?
Okay.
That's Doug Pulliam's gang. And a bunch of men are working there, and you blast it. In other words, when you dig all this stuff out and level it down, then you call the guys with the jackhammers, and they drill holes, and then old Hinkle will come along with his man, and they'll plug them holes. And we'll get out of there, and he'll holler far in the hole, and you could hear him all over that park. I don't know why he could, but that's the way he hollers. And you could hear him far in the hole, and then they'd blast that. They usually done it while we were going to dinner.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Now, you come in across the bridge down this way, that bridge right there at the park.
Yeah.
Turn this way and go to the park, or you can go this way to the new place you built, used to be the swimming house.
Uh-huh.
Well, you turn left here,
Nature resort.
and you go right down to the park. Instead of turning in, you couldn't do that then, but you have to go up that hill. See?
Uh-huh.
And that's where that road is. It made that road clear through so it would coincide with the one, now you come out of the park, if you want to go to town, you turn this way, and if you didn't, you come down here almost to the Hamer Cemetery, and then there's a road, but they don't use it no more. It comes right down beside
Okay.
that there rester. You remember?
Yeah, I think I know where you.
It comes down and makes a curve, and it's all hill down. That's the only way we had in the park.
Like the old 60 entrance.
So it came right on through the village.
It came right down past that there hotel and past the mill, and then it went out up that way and hit that road up there, curved around like that.
Yeah.
But we run into it, and then we just done away with that road. The only guy that got in that road was a guy that used to be a house up there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's still there now. He worked for the park,
Yeah.
and he would use that road and go up to his
But that
home.
was the original road
That
also for the village before it became a
Yeah,
park.
that road coming down here. Now, all them logs we had to put on them houses, we
Mhm.
bought, I'm saying we, the state did. Anyway, we hauled them all around southern Indiana. We find an old log barn, well, they'd buy it and tear it down, we go haul them in.
Do you remember which houses you worked on?
Yeah, the ones right there in front of the park, in front of the old mill, we worked on all them.
Okay.
We finished them. Then we worked on the shelter house right down there, the first one from the village.
Yeah, the butternut.
And then all the rest of them, we put new roofs on them.
Boy, I bet that was a job.
Yeah, they call them shakes, see.
Uh-huh.
We bought the lumber, the material from Howard Miller, out on his farm. We bought them. He had some virgin timber. He sold us white oak, great big ones, and we cut them, and you cut them off just the size of your shape.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy, Bill Marshall, he had a thing he'd sit on there and he'd hit that.
Single throw.
And he'd make shakes all
So
day
you
long.
made all the shakes. You didn't
Yeah.
get them already
No, we
made.
didn't buy them, we made them.
Man, that's a lot.
And that was his job. He was an old man. He was older than I was.
My goodness.
And he sat there, and that's all he had to do, just make them shakes.
That's
You know,
probably
they just-
enough.
Oh my
That
goodness.
white oak,
Take 'em by
that
hand.
big white oak was really split
That's
right
amazing.
out. It'd be thick up here and run out of that.
Then did he shave them down on a single
Well,
horse?
he smoothed them up.
Yeah.
Didn't need to, see, because that grain would break. Now, the first two or three he made where the bark was,
Mhm.
he straightened them up. But
Yeah.
the rest of them, you get a nice block all with no bark on it,
Yeah.
it just slipped right out. It was an easy job if you know how to hold that thing.
Yeah.
I forget what they call it, but it had a handle,
Yeah. Single throw, wasn't it?
yeah, and it come out like that, and then a long blade, and it was curved. And then he had a wooden mallet, and he just hit that, and that thing would just
Wow.
slide right over.
Now, when you first went, what houses were in the village? Was Granny Whitehouse already there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that house right across
Sheik's house?
was there, but we had to build it up on it. A lot of it had gone down. We had to build that up, and I had to work on all of them. They just let them go to pieces.
Yeah.
And the drugstore was there, and the restaurant, you call it now.
Tavern, yeah.
At the tavern, we called it beer joint then. And them little houses around there, they were there, but we all had to have work on them.
Yeah, yeah.
All had the windows in the mill, we put them in, all, didn't have no, they'd break out, you know how they do, and that
Yeah.
spillway from the cave down to the mill, we
Uh-huh.
had to redo all that,
Uh-huh.
had to work the wheel over.
Yeah.
and-
Was the public there the whole time you were working,
What do you mean,
visiting?
public?
Oh, was the park open for people to come? And,
People.
They was open, but they wasn't too many there, see.
okay.
And then, when they did, well, then they'd move us guys out of the village, see.
Uh-huh.
All right, now, that creek that runs across there and all that rip rap and then
Mhm.
the wall over there, Mac McCrae and his gang put all that up. So it
Okay.
wouldn't decay in the bank and keep the washing
Right.
out. They laid that by hand.
Huh.
Fieldstone is what it was.
Yeah, yeah, and it's still there.
It's still there.
Wow.
And, what's her name? Miss Turley. Them Turley house right across from the
Yeah.
barn,
Uh-huh.
it was there then, full of antiques.
Mm. Now,
Two
were they
sisters
still
there.
living there?
Huh?
They were still
Oh,
living
yeah,
there?
them two sisters. We used to stop there I'd go out there on Sunday afternoon and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But during the day, why, she'd tell us boys, if you got thirsty and had time, stop and she'd give us some
My.
tea. And we'd pull over there and stop, talk to them, then go
My.
and give us
That was a
iced tea.
big house, too, wasn't
It was a big house, and it was full of antiques.
Oh.
She gave that to the park,
Uh-huh, yeah.
donated.
Now, how about other stuff in the village? Did they have a lot of furniture and antiques?
Oh, yeah, they had a lot of furniture, but some of that has been donated, like old man Smith that lives out in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's over 100 years old. I think he gives some there.
Harry
too.
Smith, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, he's still around, too.
Yeah, him and his brother.
His brother's still around.
Yeah,
His
his
brother's
brother.
90 and he's 102.
Yeah, he's 102 and his brother's, what, 90 or?
Or
I think
more
so.
even. I don't know.
And,
How about other people living around the village? Were there any other folks still living? You mentioned the Turleys, but were they the only people living where the park's at now? Or?
no, we had a house, like I told you, that road, you go past the spring, and going up that road like you're going there, you can see the road
Mhm.
going up, there's a house still there.
Yeah.
There's a guy lived there, then you come back and go down this way, and like you was going out of the gate, well, back in there was another house there, but I
Mhm.
forget who lived there. I did know at the
Maybe
time.
the Harrisons?
Well, it could be Harrison, but there's three houses in there that
Leon Dalton and Lou Hill lived in there
they lived
someplace.
in one of them.
Right down at the village,
Yeah.
and then right over that way, seemed me like it was a house.
Yeah, there was.
Okay.
And,
Were there any buildings in the village torn down or removed?
no, they just dilapidated, you know, we could
Yeah.
go on and jack them up and straighten them up, and we'd, the carpenter, Heine Anderson, he straightened all them buildings up, he had a squirrel's eye, and he could look at one and tell you whether it was crooked or not.
Mm.
Just gifted like that, you know, and he'd make us guys straighten them all up,
Yeah.
and we'd rebuild them with dogs, see?
Now, the tavern building there next to the distillery, did it have an addition on the back in the 30s?
Yeah,
And did they serve food there? Somebody's told me that maybe they sold food there.
well, on Sundays they'd sell sandwiches, see, they didn't
Okay.
do a whole lot of cooking.
Uh-huh.
See, back then there wasn't a whole lot of this fast food stuff, you
Yeah.
know, and they'd sell sandwiches and stuff.
Uh-huh. Wonder if they cooked them right there, or?
Yeah, pretty simple. And we hauled all them logs, we made our own trailer to haul them logs. We had a long pipe hooked behind the truck with nothing on it, and we put some cross tires, some railroad iron on it, where the bed ought to be on the truck to weight it down. Made this long pipe, and then we'd haul them logs on that. The
Mhm.
only way you had to come in the CC camp and come down past where we went, camp was, to this road and then head down. And when you got started down, you was all right till you made this curve, and then your front end would come off the blacktop, and you was just driving by your hind wheel.
Off the road.
Oh, goodness.
And I come down there and my front end just raised up. You could just, I had to raise up to see like that where I was going. And
Oh,
how I
my.
got down there, I don't know.
Oh, my.
And man, you didn't have hardly any brakes, old hand brakes, and I had my emergency, had to grab my lever and pull it on to come down.
Oh, goodness.
And how I got down there, I don't know. And Bob Knight, he hauled them. He done the same thing I did.
Mm.
Just raised right up on you when you come around that, because it was such steep, see?
But there were a lot of logs around the village to start with.
No, we had to cut that virgin timber, see. They,
Oh,
now,
did they?
the state man from Indianapolis come out and he marked the trees,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the ones we cut. We just went through and like a
Mm-hmm.
checkerboard, see. Then we
Mhm.
hauled them up here to town to, what's that man, guy's name out in the south end, north end, on that side.
Hostetler?
Hostetler, he sorted them for us.
Mm-hmm. How about the guys from Indianapolis? Did you meet E.Y. Guernsey? He was
Yeah, he'd been down there, yeah, he'd come down every once in a while, and then there was another guy, I forget his name, every so often, about every 2 or 3 months, he'd come down and check that camp all over. He checked the camp all right, you could bet on that.
yeah. Well, there was a Richard Lieber was
Yeah.
one of the people in charge.
And old Kit and Lee, he kind of was over that, that's why
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff other camps didn't get, see.
Oh, okay. Now, wasn't Kit and Lee involved in building the wheel and the gears on the grist mill too?
Yeah. Then we had to get a man, I forget where he was from, Tunnelton, I believe, up there at Tunnelton or Booty. He come over and sharpened them burrs.
Mm-hmm. So, was the grill operating when the CCC first went?
Well, it could, but it didn't grind a whole lot of corn because
Okay.
it needed sharpening, see,
Yeah.
and it could run.
How much did they sell the mill for when they started selling?
The corn,
Uh-huh.
quarter bag.
Quarter a bag. It was cloth bags.
Yeah, it said Springfield State Park on it.
Of course, price hadn't went up too much. It's only $1 now.
Well, that's went up 75 cents, but you tried it with water.
Quarter a bag.
But we know the guy that run it, like us guys, and maybe he'd give us a bag.
But it looked like it does now, basically.
Yeah, it looks exactly like it does.
How about the stairs in the mill? We had a picture where it showed the stairs going up to the second and the third floor, and they looked a lot different.
Well, it was. It was different because you didn't have a room,
Okay.
see? In other words, there wasn't as big a room up there, and you didn't have the room to make your stairs, but you could get up there.
Okay. Okay, so they changed those somewhere over time.
Yeah, over the time. But they all had to be inspected after we got done.
Uh-huh.
And old Catfish Reynolds, he built them fireplaces in the shelter houses.
Oh, really?
He was good at it.
Yeah, they're in good shape.
He'd take, when he got done, he'd take a piece of paper, set it right out here, light a match, and get that paper on front of you, just see that, draw that thing right up. He said that's the way you tell whether you got a good fireplace.
Yeah.
Catfish Reynolds.
Were some of the fireplaces in the buildings there when you started?
Yeah, we had to rebuild them, but he rebuilt them. In other words, he rebuilt them.
Yeah.
He tore them down to where they was solid, and then he built them back up.
Yeah.
Old Catfish.
Yeah. There was a couple more pictures I was going to ask about. Here's one. Looks like some type of a building.
Okay,
with
that's
trucks
your
around it.
garage. The garage, right here was the garage, and then this here we had parts and stuff in it. In the wintertime, we'd run our trucks in there.
Mm-hmm.
In the summertime, we'd park up like that side of it.
Were there a lot of vehicles in the CCC?
Oh, yeah, let's see, there was, the
Dump
guy
trucks?
running the park,
Dump trucks,
over us.
pickups?
he had a pickup truck, that was his, he couldn't bother with. Yeoman.
Mhm.
And he had a pickup truck. Jim Flynn had one, but I could get it anytime I wanted to his. He was over the trucks, the mechanic.
And this is also from those.
This has come from, that's in, Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Because we took a bunch of trucks up there to the Capitol,
Uh-huh.
and we got them from Brown County State Park, brought them down here, gassed them up, and checked them all out, and drove them through to Oklahoma City and back. And we come back in a pickup truck. No, a stake truck, a stake body truck and a pickup. We come back.
So that was for maybe a special project out there, or?
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't send them trucks from Brown County out there, but they did. We had to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
So we was the closest camp, so we was.
Was that a camp out there?
Where?
Was that a CC
Yeah,
camp out
that's
there? in
CC
Oklahoma?
camp. Yeah.
Maybe a
That's
national
CC
park camp.
National Park camp. I like to go to Indian reservation.
Well, here's one that kind of interested me, because there's 3 guys and 3 girls. And I don't know whether I should ask about that or not.
That's on the weekend. I think I'm in one of them. I think that's
Just
me.
take it out there in front of one of them buildings, imagine.
Yeah, right between the buildings.
So the girls could even come to the camp?
Well,
sometimes?
the big shot that
They
one
slipped
would
out
stop
there at
him,
the park,
we
you
know
know.
where he was. He was in town
Huh.
or something. We know where he was.
They slipped out to the park and
Okay.
slipped around.
He slipped
you know.
out and we'd take our picture.
So is that you in the picture?
I
or-
think so. I'm supposed to be in there. Yeah.
That's him standing on this side.
Are you in the picture?
No, not me.
No.
He hadn't got me yet.
I hadn't
He was
got
running
you.
around the other
Oh,
side.
okay.
I'm getting real.
We'll put that picture down and not talk about it
He was
anymore.
running around the other side.
I think it's them catcher girls.
I think it was too.
Now this one, I'm assuming that this one is from Donaldson Cave.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay, now, did you all do much work around Donaldson Cave?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I drove you know where the parking lot is in Dawson Cave?
Yeah, yeah.
When we started, there's a gravel road clear down here, as far as you can go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the first load of stone that went down there in the dump truck.
You brought dump trucks
Drove
down
right
to
here
the
in the
cave?
parking lot,
Yeah.
then headed down that hill.
Down-
My goodness, that's a steep hill.
Well,
Well,
sure
had a
is.
cable with a tractor behind it, holding it,
My
to keep it from getting
goodness.
away.
You can't even hardly walk down that hill.
No.
Well, I wouldn't do anything. They just said, Ham, you gotta take the first load. I said, where we going? They said, down that hill. I said, hook her up.
My goodness.
And away
How many
we go.
loads did it take, you think?
Oh, we took, well, we done that, I don't know, we done that a half a day to the moon. Because, see, when you get so far, that gravel rolls with you, you gotta stake it,
Uh-huh.
put a petition to keep it from rolling.
Uh-huh.
We haul gravel in for half, we've had our own crusher.
Uh-huh. Oh, there at the park? Or?
Well, you take on the north side of the park,
Mm-hmm.
you go to the end of it, you bought a piece of ground off of, Graves, ain't you?
I think so.
You go up, clear at the corner, and then go back this way, and come around, and here's your bridge, and
Mm-hmm.
right over there's the dam, and there's the
Mhm.
creek.
Right.
Okay, well, that farm there didn't belong to the park, it belonged to Graves. You come
Mhm.
around there, and when you go around this way, just when you get over the bridge, you come down,
Mm-hmm.
and you turn this way, there's a quarry right there.
Okay.
Okay, there's where the quarry was, and right over on this side was the crusher.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd haul that rock from there, crush it for ourselves.
Oh.
We could do that cheaper than we could buy it, see.
Huh. So
Well, we
the
didn't have nothing to do with it.
stone actually came from the park then?
Well, it come from that quarry.
Where, yeah, next to the park.
We leased that quarry.
Did the CCC build all those steps going down to the Donaldson Cave?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All that set of steps?
Yeah, they built them steps, you
They stayed in good condition.
know. Huh?
They stayed in real good condition.
Oh, yeah. You had cement there.
Now, how about the cave itself? There's some stones that have fallen in over time, and I don't know, from looking at the picture, it looks like it's changed some.
Oh, yeah, it has. They changed the opening of it some.
Did they do that intentionally, or did it just,
Well, they just had to keep it from caving in, see.
oh, okay, okay. Because it looks quite a bit different in the
Oh, yeah.
opening.
Yeah.
Did a lot of people go back in the cave then?
Yeah, they would go back there. Yeah. And one of them caves, I think it was Twin Cave. They went back there not too far. They had a little boat ride, I think,
Yeah.
15 minutes, something like that. But you can go further now.
Uh-huh.
They used to have blind fishing.
Yeah, yeah.
Blind fishing.
Now, the Donaldson Cave had some
Yeah, blind
research stations that IU had used. Was there any of that left? Some aquariums or anything like that?
Blind fish. I caught one of them, held him in my hand, little white thing about that big.
Right.
White. He didn't have his eyes, but he couldn't see.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. How much were the boat rides then?
Oh, I think 15 cents, something like that, died.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't too high.
Yeah.
Cause they wasn't going, see, and they wasn't really, all they was doing is trying to get it ready to get the people out here, see,
Uh-huh.
to make a show place. After they got it going, then they raised the prices.
Yeah. How about the park admission? How much did that cost?
25 cents.
25
Quarter.
cents
Yeah.
in the 30s.
Quarter. Maybe 15 cents.
Now, how about the gatehouse we have now? When was that put there? You know, the one that comes right off of
60?
60, yeah, the new one.
Well, they didn't put that there till they found out where the road was coming.
Okay.
And when they found the road was coming, well, they built that new house, but I forget what year it is. Old Bill ought to be able to. It was there when WF was there. He was, WF Cordell was the park manager then, and he was there when they built that, I think, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Was it after CCC left?
Oh, yeah, yeah. It was
Oh.
state building.
Yeah, they made that after CCC.
And from that gatehouse clear down to the bridge, we was blacktopping it. And I got on one of them state highway trucks, a big dump bed trucks. And the guy driving the truck, he said, "Ham, you get up here by this lever." And here was the bed going this way, and here was the bed this way. I sat there in that corner. And he said, "When I get started to going," he said, "I'll blow my horn and you jerk this lever and let it." And I rode that truck all the way down from the gatehouse to Kirk to the bridge. And it was up like that. Quick.
Oh my.
But it didn't have no rock. I was hanging on to the side. So. It was one Saturday.
Oh goodness. So the CCC was there when they blacktopped it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they had a big roller. We rolled it. They let us boys drive the roller.
Oh, wow. How about the cemetery? Do you remember anything about that?
Other than we straightened up that rip rack around it and fixed the fence up, but they wouldn't let us in there only for mold once in a while.
Oh really?
They would keep us mold like decoration day, then they'd get a couple mowers and they'd find two guys.
But you didn't work on the stones or anything?
No, we didn't work on the stones. They kind of, well, that was private property in other words. And we could go in there, but we didn't dare bother them.
You didn't build a fence around it or anything?
Well, we helped build a fence around it, but, fixed it up, but it was already there.
Was it in pretty good condition, the cemetery?
Well, for a while it was, but then there was places where, like on the ground it rot and it pulled out, we'd have to take them out, put in new ones. But we didn't dare get in the cemetery,
Yeah.
It was kind of private. Not really. They tell me if your name's Hamer or Turley, you can be buried in there.
Yeah,
Be
there are.
distant relation.
Yeah, there's some
Now, that's what they tell me,
restrictions now.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Turley and Hamer.
Yeah,
They
that's
call
all.
it Hamer Cemetery. Now, there's some Turleys buried in there.
They've always called it Hamer Cemetery.
Yeah, but there's some Turleys in there too. See, I don't know, I think a Turley married a Hamer or a Hamer married a Turley.
Always in
Anyway,
there.
they're mixed up some.
Yeah. Not as many Turleys in there, because they do have a separate cemetery.
Yeah, they do that.
Well, I'm just, kind of the last things, I just would like your impression on the CCC. Do you think it was a good thing?
Well, yeah.
You think it was worth
Why,
repeating
sure.
today, if we could get the government to
If
see that perspective?
you can get them young boys in something like that, it'd stop 50% of your marijuana and all that dope.
You think it'd work today?
It would work if you'd get them to do it.
You can get
Now,
jobs.
what I mean by that, yeah, they'll take it, $30 a day, and all they gotta do is prick around. Get their meals and their shoes, and their hospital, bed to sleep in. Go to town when they want to, after supper, but they gotta be back. All right, if you can get them to do that, but they won't do it after they work there maybe a month or two, and got $60, well, you argue with them, I don't have to stay here, and they're going.
Is that what happened then?
Some of them done that, but
Yeah.
not very many.
Not very
Because
many.
everybody was tough.
Yeah.
Very few. There was some that took off because they didn't have to work, see.
And maybe they didn't have any place to go. A lot of them,
Yeah.
there was no jobs
Yeah.
and,
I know I was tough. That was tough. Because we had 10 of us at home sat down to dinner all the time, every meal, see, so it was tough.
did a lot of them feel like, there was gonna be a war, and did they plan on joining the army?
Some of them did do that. Some of them did do that now. Not all of them planned to go, but some of them did do that.
A lot of them left then to join the army.
And a lot of them, after they got out of there, had to be drafted. See, I was in 1A one time, when the war was on, they didn't draft me, but I was in 1A. I was working for Central Foundry
Mm-hmm.
over there
Mm.
Bedford at the time, and mine was 1A, and they come and told me and gave me the paper, the little card. And just happened that I was working on a government project.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it come out in the paper that those guys were exempt unless they needed them, see?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what my boss told me. Now, I didn't do nothing to go or do nothing to stop from going. I
Mhm.
told my wife, if they call me, I'm going. If they don't, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but I'm not going around and advertising where
Yeah.
I want to go to.
Right. Right.
I don't
Well,
know whether I was wrong
I
in that or not.
guess you just kept ahead of that on account of age bracket.
yeah, because he was a little bit older
The
than.
bit older father was wanting 18, 19
Hello.
back in there, and he was
Yeah.
up in his 20s. It's
Uh-uh.
20s, and I guess they
And-
take these young ones first.
Yeah.
An
Well,
American's
he just
involvement
missed
it. Okay, hang
didn't
on.
last that long.
Okay.
So,
Jody,
What?
Jay, you done been to Bedford?
No.
I thought I told her.
What?
what did you think about Roosevelt back then?
Well, I still think as much of him I did then. He's a good man. Hadn't been for that, I don't know what we'd have done.
Yeah.
But you didn't go through the depression?
No.
I hope you never do.
It was a hard time.
You could work, but you didn't get no money.
Uh-huh.
I worked for a dime an hour, and like for you, and when you got done, he said, Ham, I ain't got no money to pay you, but I've got potatoes here.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd give me so many bushel potatoes for my day's work.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I think, or maybe one.
Yeah.
I anyway, I got a dime an hour.
Uh-huh.
And we didn't eat the potatoes at home at all.
Uh-huh.
And you helped everybody, but you didn't have no money.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it was programs like that, like
And
the
that
CCC.
program was a lifesaver. I'll go along with that. That was a good one, and I don't care who knows it. I'm a Democrat, but I was then a Democrat. But if it hadn't been for that, a lot of people wouldn't have had what they got.
Yeah.
Now, I know people here in town, and over at Bedford, that was in the CC camp, and they needed the money too. But you say something to them, and they don't even want to admit it.
Hmm.
They're ashamed of it. Well, I'm not ashamed of it. You ask me if I didn't, I'll tell you, yeah.
Most everybody I've talked to seems very proud of it.
It
And,
was a good deal.
yeah.
It was a good deal, because we learned something, see?
Mm-hmm.
And by doing it, that's the way you gotta learn. You can't, now you can learn that out of a book, but a lot of the time when you read that book, you can't apply that to the job, because there's something in there that doesn't go along with the job.
Now, how old were you when you left?
Oh, I don't know how old I was. I was, I don't know, about 20, 21, about 22 when I got in. I went to school at 25.
Mm-hmm. So what did you do after you left?
Huh?
What did you do?
I went to Burn City, and then from there I went to Central Foundry. I worked a year at Burn City,
Mm-hmm.
a year and a half, 2 years. And I went to Central Foundry. I worked 2 years at Burn City. And then while I was working for Central Foundry, I got a job on this highway, building it. And I got called from there to Central Foundry.
And then you stayed at Central Foundry.
Well, I stayed at Central Foundry till the doctor retired me.
Oh. So do you feel like your work in the CCC kind of
Oh,
got you ready
yeah.
for that?
I tell you what I like, if they could, set that up and get us old guys in there, I'd like to go back and stay a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, just get $1 a day and your meals and clothes and just stay a year.
Well.
I would go back. I'd sign up for it if they'd let me go. I would.
I think that speaks a lot right there.
I would. I'd do it. And I'm 80 years old, but I can still do a day's work if they don't crowd me.
Yeah. Of course, that's what a lot of the green thumb workers are all about.
But I really liked it.
Well, a while ago you told us a story here, and I want to end with
What?
this, but I want you to tell it again because we didn't get this on tape, and we didn't get this picture on the film. So this was kind of a humorous story, and,
Well,
And
Right in there.
it wasn't all work, was it? There was
No, we
little
had a
bit
lot of fun. We was deviling everybody. We had a lot of fun. We just cut up with everybody. But that picture, the Cubs and another guy was, I don't know whether it was the Yankees, but let's say the Yankees, you know, and the Cubs was playing. And one of them bid on the Cubs and one of them bid on the Yankees. They're playing the World Series now.
Uh-huh.
And whoever lost had to crap in the guy's hat.
Uh-huh.
You had to take your hat off and let him crap it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. The guy sitting there, as you can see his rear end, he won the bet.
Uh-huh.
The guy with the hat sticking under, he lost the bet.
He
That
lost
was his hat he took off his head.
Oh, goodness.
It was an old overall CC hat, what it
Yeah.
was, you know. And when it got wet, it bent down.
Oh, goodness.
You know how they work, made out of overall goods, and that's what it was. And old George held it down there for Big Orange.
Uh-huh.
Now the reason we called him Big Orange, us old guys were sitting here at a breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't argue. We just eat what they set in front of us because we've been through it. See, we know what there was, oranges and grapefruit and stuff, and they had grapefruit. Well, he come back in this seat behind us. And he was a tall guy, about 6 foot tall. And he walked in there and sat down, and he looked at that there, and of course he didn't know what it was, I guess. He said, "God damn, what Big Orange is." That's exactly what he said. And from then on, that was his name. We just turned around and said, "Big Orange, don't you know what that is?" He said, "No." We said it was a grapefruit.
He'd never seen a grapefruit before.
Dude, we got some goofy guys in there.
Were most of them from around the area here?
There was, no, they come from Corden,
Beautiful,
Frank Flick, Jasper.
But they were from Indiana.
Oh, they were a lot of
most of them from
most of
Indiana,
them.
imagine.
Rising Sun, that's the Democrat town of Wood. And, oh, up in the,
Mm-hmm.
then Brown County had a bunch, you know, but they didn't have no CC camp up there.
Oh, okay.
See, but they come from Brown County down there. That's where we got our dam, was from Brown County State, the form, see.
Oh,
See,
okay.
now somebody used them, and then Brown County got them to make the dam.
Uh-huh.
It was formed. You bolt them together and then pour your concrete in.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got done, then we hauled them in pickup trucks.
Mm-hmm.
To, I think we'd take 2 pieces made out of metal. I think it was 3 pieces. They was made like a bowl, see.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd lay them in there. The guy with a crane and lay them down there. And I think 3 of them's all we could haul on the truck on kind of the weight.
Mm-hmm.
And we hauled them down there.
Did you mix the concrete there, or did you have a brewer?
They had a truck come,
Mm-hmm.
because they wanted to pour. Whenever you said a pour and got it ready to pour, they wanted to pour it fast. And
Mm-hmm.
if we mixed it, well, of course, we had a concrete mixer,
Mm-hmm.
but we couldn't get it in there quick enough. So
Yeah.
see
Couldn't
what I
make as
mean?
much at a time there.
Well, we
Right.
couldn't, yeah.
Wouldn't have set very well.
It set up before. They didn't want no cracks or nothing in it. Boy, they were particular. They had a guy from the state, he'd run that, and you didn't have no cracks, you had to smooth them up and smooth his if they was.
Mm-hmm.
He was particular. because-
That's why it's still there today.
Huh?
That's probably why it's still
I
there
imagine.
today.
But now, a lot of contractors, they'll say, well, just patch it up and smooth it over. Well, I can do that easy, because I learned it out there, and you'd never know there's a crack there,
Uh-huh.
but it ain't fixed.
Yeah.
That guy wouldn't let you do it, boy, it had to be, and he checked the concrete, it had to measure out and check out just what he said, and
Yeah.
it had to be so much gravel, so much sand in there, and he had a way of figuring it out some way. I don't know how he done it, but he could tell you what. He turned back 2 or 3 loads. He said, "You ain't got enough cement in there." I said, "I won't accept it." So they had to go back and put more cement in.
My goodness. Was it from Lehigh here in Mitchell?
No, I don't know where it come from, but concrete trucks.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know for sure whether it come from here in town or down there at, what's that place down there by, Fuller and Peoria, down there close to Jeffersonville.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it is.
Yeah.
I think it come from there.
Cement place,
Yeah,
I can't think of
Yeah,
what's
I
that
see.
now.
it's down there someplace,
Yeah.
close to Jeffersonville. What is it? I know the name. But anyway, they hauled it. They had them both coming at the, but they hauled
I
it.
can't think of that place down there.
contractor.
They break down
He
there.
goes over it.
Yeah.
Of course, we set the dams up and stuff, and that inspector inspect them,
Mhm.
water and stuff like that. In other words, we done the manual labor, see,
Mhm.
that's the way you can call it,
Mhm.
manual labor.
Kind of makes you feel good when you visit the park today and see the
Oh,
same
yeah.
shelter houses and roads and buildings and dam, and it's all in top shape.
Top shape.
It was good work, and it was
That's
work
how
that
we got them
lasted.
roads, and then, that road from the gatehouse down to the bridge, at one time, they cut that through so far with horses, but they never did finish it.
Mm.
So when we had our machinery and our scoops and stuff like that, why, they decided, the state of Indiana decided to build that in there. Why, I don't know,
Mhm.
but they surveyed it. And so we had to cut the brush, and that road into the hotel, we had to cut the brush and make that road.
Mhm.
And we had to clean that all off for the bottom of the form, or for the footer of that hotel.
Mhm.
Back in there and haul that stuff out.
So there wasn't
Haul it in.
anything left of the tavern when you.
Huh?
There wasn't any of the tavern left when you went in there to build it.
What,
The original.
Down in the park?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some there,
Okay.
but I'm talking about this hotel, see.
Oh, you mean the inn?
The
Yeah.
inn.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
call it hotel then, now they call
Yeah.
it an inn. We even made the parking lot there.
So you got that started, and then a construction company
Oh,
finished it.
yeah, yeah.
And that was in '39 that they
Yeah.
went ahead and
And
finished.
then you look on the parking lot, here's a fence of stone, and a long slab stone laying on top.
Mhm.
And you know how that guy made that look like it was old?
Mhm. How's that?
He's got a pick,
Mhm.
a little pick about that long, and it's got a sharp point on this end and this end. And you just take it, prick him in, and a little slab will fall out. You pick them ever so far and they'll fall, and the rain colors it,
Mhm.
makes it look black, and that's the way they age that.
So it really wasn't aged. I wondered about that.
That's the way it's aged.
I've seen some of those and wondered if that
Yeah.
really was that
No,
way, or if
no,
someone did
no.
that.
Bob White done that. That was his job.
My.
Little guy about my size. But you laid them up there like that, and then he would have a line here, see, and he picked so many of them. He'd take and hit that there, and then a little flap like that would fall out, and there'd be a little valley in there, you know.
Indentation.
Little dent like that.
Yeah, and then he'd go over here and they one, he'd make them in rows, I think.
Yeah.
And
How about the apothecary and the general store? I heard that maybe they sandblasted the wood or did
yeah,
something
sandblasted the wood,
to make it look older.
make it look older.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you put new stuff in, that's what you have to do.
Uh-huh.
But usually, on them houses, we got that off of a barn or something, we bring the logs out there and then they'd measure the length and then they'd cut off the
Mhm.
dead part of that log that was no good. But every piece that they could use, they used. See? Because they bought them logs from that barn,
Right.
see, and they used them, they didn't throw away a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to wear out our welcome and stay
You
too
don't,
long.
you didn't.
And if it gets any longer, you'll have to fix us lunch. And I know you don't want to do that.
Well, it depends on how you eat.
Worse yet, I'm afraid you'll have us out working in the garden.
No, I couldn't do that because I can't get in there myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it
A
after a
little bit
while.
I
too
think
wet.
it's drying out
I'm
now.
gonna try it after a while, but I don't think I can get in there.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time, and boy, these photographs have really been
Well, can you
valuable.
use any of them to take pictures
Any of
of?
these that you'd let us make copies, we'll copy everything
Well,
that
you take them.
you'll allow us to, because we
You
can
gonna take the book, or is them mine, or what?
Well, either one or both, but we can have them back within about a week.
Well, what I wanna know, I gotta take this book out to the park with me on CC Reunion.
Oh, we can have it back.
That's the 30th
Yeah.
of September, and we got the boathouse now. We built the boathouse. See?
Uh-huh.
We built that.
You got
We
the,
dug that ditch out,
uh-huh.
with a backhoe,
Uh-huh.
and hauled sand in there and everything else.
There where the Sycamore Shelter House is now.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that used to be the boathouse.
Be the boathouse.
Back when the lake went up there.
Yeah, the
we
lake
made the
came
lake
way
go
back
up,
there.
down, made it go up,
Mhm.
and we made the lake deeper. made a beach over there for the sand, haul the sand in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they used that beach for years, didn't they?
Yeah, you've done
Boat
all
riding. I'll tell you what, you take them pictures, you use what you want, just so
Okay.
I get either them or a copy of them back.
Well, I'll get these back, and if you want an extra copy of any, just let me know,
No,
and
I don't need
I
it.
can give you an
Just
extra
don't
copy.
lose that there ball player.
Oh, and then we'll get them back probably by about the first week of July.
Be
So
all right.
it'll only be about, if we can have them for a week or a week and a half,
You
that'll
can
give
have
us
it for
time.
2 weeks or 3
that.
weeks,
Because
just,
I think.
just
Okay.
so I get them back.
Yeah, and then if there's any others, yeah, that,
They won't want that thing there away.
well, we appreciate it.
I don't know where that, oh, that's on my sister.
It's
Red Bluff, California.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is make slides out of these, and then we'll be able to use them for programs
Yeah.
and have them available if anyone else
Whatever you wanna do.
wants.
But your first road,
Yeah.
we done that first, that was Doug Pulliam's job. Like I told you, come across the bridge and turn this way, you got a little curve there, neck like that.
Mm-hmm,
And then that takes you into the parking lot.
mm-hmm,
Well, instead of that parking lot being there, we made that in there, them road. Well, this lead, it goes this way down and lets you into the park, the second place you road. You turn in the park here and then there's a road goes this way.
mm-hmm.
Well, that stuff that we used out of that road, we built that lead to there.
Oh,
We
okay.
back in there and dumped it.
Phil.
Had 2 trucks. See,
Mhm.
and while one was backing up and dumping, the other guys was loading.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All by shovel, like,
Yeah, hand and shovel.
yeah, yeah.
And
A lot of hard work.
that's how come we got that road around up. Just, it looks to me like it's on a ridge above the park. It just comes around like that.
Mm-hmm,
Down if you watch it.
mm-hmm,
And then over in here they got a powerhouse or something, water line or something on that road.
mm-hmm.
Along that road on the, when you come around, they'll say, get on top, there's a, I don't know, powerhouse or
Yeah.
pump house or something. down
Yeah.
there. They made that.
Yeah, I know.
Then we got our water, from the park
Mm-hmm,
until Lehigh has got a right to go through that park anytime they want to with the water. They
Uh-huh.
give us the water, then they turn it on city water.
oh,
But it used to be spring water.
okay, so originally you used the water there out of Hammer Cave?
That one up there by the sawmill, and then there's a spring house up there,
Yeah,
up there.
okay.
That water come down there, and we used that water in all them faucets.
Oh, so that was piped from there. Was it hooked into the Lehigh pumping station itself?
And then Lehigh got the right of way,
Uh-huh,
and you can't stop them. They got 100 years,
uh-huh.
and but they give us a right to hook onto the line.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
you got a right to hook. That's where you got your city water.
Mm-hmm.
But at the first, when we were there, they didn't have a whole lot of fountains in the village, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a few, and that's where you got the water.
Mm-hmm. From right at the Hammer Cave.
And that's spring.
interesting.
There's a couple springs up there, and there's one back this way, back where it feeds the mill.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple springs.
Probably was good, fresh, cold
Oh,
water.
man, it was good. Drink right out of that anytime you want to drink the water. Now they say that ain't no good, condemned them, because they might hurt you or something. Look at old Harry Smith, he's been drinking that for a long time.
Didn't hurt him, he's 102 years old.
102 years. That's what I can't figure out, boys. When I was a kid, we'd eat anything come on the table,
Uh-huh.
because we had to. And now, a lot of stuff that they say you can't eat, well, I know guys that eat that for 90 years and they still like it.
Yeah, yeah.
But they call it, I don't know,
I've-
healthy for you or
I've
something.
thought about that myself.
But it don't make sense to me.
Right.
Just like that coal. Now, sure, it pollutes the air a little bit, but not much. And that's all we burnt, wood and coal when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid.
Years and years. Well, thanks a lot.
That's
and
all right, anytime I can
We'll
help you,
get
you
those
let me
pictures
know.
back.
No, I want to take it further.
Well, sorry.
Come on in, Fraser, yes. Gabby wants to get out. He's got too much money in his stock. No. Come on, fellas, let's have somebody say something.
I said I'm ready for all more for progress.
I said no. I second it. Anybody else? Come on, guys.
John
Let's have a little quiet in here. We can't hear what they're talking about.
We want somebody to replace this man.
Yeah, Hannibal. He's secretary.
Ah, he's doing good at it.
George Taylor.
We've got all your addresses here. I'm gonna write every one of them. Okay?
Yeah.
Get the money, we'll go.
Is there anybody here now that hasn't signed the book and given your $3?
Reunion.
A lot of them go on there.
Whatever, let's see, we're still president.
Well, we're president.
I know you're doing work.
Right, go ahead.
What'd you say you got a reunion next year?
I have a family reunion.
When?
What?
Bring them down here.
Well, what's the
We've already
difference?
got a
You
reserve
quiet.
for
Reason I
tonight
changed
now.
this. Last Sunday. The only way I'm changing this, if this is taken next year, I won't have to do it. George, well, if you don't get out here, we may have to let the butter not grow. If you can't get this,
You'll be on the card.
you'll have one or the other. Maybe a week of difference in the reading. I'm gonna let George do
Anyhow, as I said, it looks like we're kind of cooling down a little bit. There's a big crowd here today, but the men are not coming out. Some comes out 1 year, and then that's the last time we'll see them. So if you see any of them, be sure and get them out here next year. Help us out to get, as long as any of us are still kicking, give that person. I won't be here. Let him drink it by himself. Have you lost anybody this year? Huh?
Look it over and see me. Now, I'm going to put my phone number down here. I'm going to be in touch with every one of you. And I expect you to be here next year, the good Lord willing, right? And want to bring somebody. I know some of them here in Mitchell that I haven't seen. So we'll all work together, right? And have a good time. Bring your wives and friends, okay?
Now, what are you going to do now? You got
I used to really enjoy you being on first base, getting ready to steal second base.
Oh, we had a lot of fun down here.
No matter how much he tells you.
I'm sure and appreciate the work that's been done. There's a little piece on the bottom, and I don't know whether all of you read it or not, but it's only a small amount of the things that the CV boys done while they were here in Springfield. I ain't going nowhere. I'm here every day.
It ain't gonna take him long. I got 3 things.
Okay.
I want to thank the people up at Indianapolis for getting this plaque for us. They spent the money, and we ain't got a dime. Then I want to thank Bill Thayer for helping us through the years to get in free and to get this plaque. And then the last one, all you boys was in this camp. We had rules. Bill's got rules. We don't want to tear up something and then the other houses don't make a good which one we get. you're here again. That's what I want you to do, and thank Phil for his wonderful job. Now, if you play ball with him, he'll help you. I didn't know that. See you, Bill. Thanks a lot. Okay. That's all I got. Thanks for present.
Would love to tell you what I think of Jesus, since I found in him a friend so kind and true. I would tell you how he changed my life completely. He did something that no other friend could do. No one ever cared for me like Jesus. There's no other friend so kind as he. No one else could take the sin and darkness from me. Oh, how much he cared for me. All my life was full of sin when Jesus found me. All my heart was full of misery and woe. Jesus placed his strong and loving arms about me, and he led me in the way I ought to go. No one ever cared for me like Jesus. There's no other friend so kind as he. No one else could take the sin and darkness from me. Oh, how much he cared for me. Every day he comes to me with new assurance. More and more I understand his words of love. But I'll never know just why he came to save me, till someday I see his blessed face above. No one ever cared for me like Jesus. There's no other friend so kind as he. No one else could take the sin and darkness from me. Oh, how much he cared for me.
Amen. Well done.
Now this, we got another one. We want them to, yeah, they're supposed to. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchtowers of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damp. I can read his righteous sentence on the dim and flaring lamps.